Before the new year rises, before the noise of resolutions fills the air, before 2026 comes knocking, you must decide who you are going to become. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now, because the future does not reward the hesitant, it rewards the disciplined, the focused, the committed. This is the moment to draw a line between your old life and the life you're about to build. To silence every excuse, confront every fear, and stand face to face with the version of yourself you've been avoiding. The world will not hand you greatness, but it will respond when you step toward it with clarity and conviction. So tighten your vision, rise with purpose, and get ready, because everything changes the moment you do. Silos Iveroiloas Captiar for 2026 be guys. Before a new year can truly begin, before fresh goals can take root, before transformation can gain momentum, you must confront the unfinished stories that linger in the background of your life. The open wounds, unspoken truths, unresolved conflicts, untidy habits, and quiet regrets you've allowed to follow you from year to year. Closing loose chapters is not about erasing the past, it is about reclaiming control over your present. Too many people drag yesterday's weight into tomorrow's opportunities, wondering why their progress feels slow, their motivation unstable, their clarity foggy. They don't realize that the mind cannot build a new house when it is still occupied by old tenants. Imagine trying to redesign a room while the clutter of every year still sits in the middle of the floor. You can't move freely, you can't think clearly, and you certainly can't create anything meaningful. Before 2026 begins, you must decide that you refuse to carry forward what has already served its purpose. You must confront what you've avoided, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary for the life you want to live next. Closing a chapter starts with honesty, brutal, unfiltered, uncompromising honesty. Look at your life and ask yourself, what conversations have I postponed because I didn't want to feel uncomfortable? What goals did I abandon halfway because I feared failing again? What relationships drain more than they give? What habits I've justified but secretly know are destroying my focus, my discipline, or my peace? These questions sting because they expose truth, but truth is the only thing that sets you free. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot fix what you pretend isn't broken. And you cannot step into 2026 with full power if parts of your life are still tied to unresolved pieces of 2025, 2024, or even years before that. Closure isn't always a conversation with someone else. Sometimes it is a conversation with yourself, the version of you that settled, that hesitated, that tolerated situations you should have walked away from long ago. Closure is the courage to say, this no longer belongs in the life I'm building, and then acting on that conviction. Many people think closure means reconciliation, and that's why they avoid it. They assume they must forgive someone in person, repair the relationship, or revisit old pain. But closure is an internal decision, not an external event. It is the acceptance that what happened has happened, that what's done is done, that the past has no authority over the direction you choose now. You don't need apologies that may never come. You don't need the other person to agree with your perspective. You need acceptance, and acceptance is a gift you give yourself. When you cling to old resentment, old embarrassment, old heartbreak, or old betrayal, you do more than remember the past, you relive it. And reliving the past is the fastest way to sabotage the future. Before 2026, release the stories you've replayed for too long. They have stolen enough of your energy. They have lived rent-free in your mind long enough. The chapter does not close when they apologize. It closes when you no longer allow the memory to control your emotions, your decisions, or your identity. Closing loose chapters also means completing what you started, the goals you set but abandoned, the promises you made to yourself but didn't honor, the dreams you allowed to collect dust because life got loud and distractions got loud with it. Every unfinished dream becomes emotional clutter. It nags at your self-belief. It whispers that you're inconsistent, that you don't follow through, that your word doesn't hold weight. But imagine finishing even one unfinished goal before the new year begins. How different would you feel? How much stronger would your confidence be? Momentum is built through completion. When you finish something today, you step into tomorrow with a stronger spine. You begin 2026 not with hesitation, but with certainty, not with insecurity, but with momentum. And momentum, when protected, becomes unstoppable. But let's talk about the hardest part, cutting ties with the people who are part of the chapter that needs closing. Not everyone you've walked with deserves a ticket into 2026. Some people belong to a season that has already ended. Some relationships are built on a version of you that no longer exists. Some connections pull you backward the moment you try to step forward. And deep down, you know this. The hardest part of growth is outgrowing people you still care about, but holding on to what anchors you is not loyalty, it is self-sabotage. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't need drama or conflict. Growth does not require noise. It requires direction. If someone's presence consistently drains your energy, dims your fire, or distracts you from your purpose, that chapter must close. Your future requires people who align with your values, your mindset, your discipline, and your goals. The truth is simple: you cannot enter a new year with old poison and expect to thrive. Closing chapters also means reorganizing your environment, your room, your workspace, your digital space, your finances, your schedule. Clutter, in any form, is a silent enemy of progress. A disorganized environment creates a disorganized mind. How can you build a powerful new life surrounded by physical reminders of your old one? Before 2026 arrives, clean out the drawers you've been ignoring, sort the files you've neglected, delete the digital weight you don't need, tighten the budget you've been avoiding. Every small act of order creates mental space. Every act of clarity creates opportunity. Every act of discipline strengthens your identity. When your environment reflects the person you want to become, it becomes easier to step into that version of yourself daily. And finally, closing loose chapters means forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for the mistakes you made when you didn't know better. For the opportunities you missed because fear controlled you. For the relationships you stayed in too long. For the goals you neglected. For the times you broke your own heart or your own trust. Before 2026 begins, you must stop being the villain in your own story. You learned, you grew, you evolved. And if you truly want a powerful year ahead, you must give yourself permission to begin again. No guilt, no shame, no self-attack. The past version you was doing the best they could with the awareness they had. Now you know better. And with knowledge comes responsibility, the responsibility to rise. So as 2026 approaches, close every loose chapter with intention. Don't carry emotional debt into a new year. Don't let old doubts dictate new outcomes. Don't let unhealed wounds write the script for your future. Finish what you started. Release what no longer serves you. Forgive deeply, accept fully, organize completely, and step forward boldly. The new year will not change your life, you will, and it begins the moment you decide that the past has had enough of your time. CT avisolen et scarcio before 2026 arrivis. Before a new year can elevate you, before opportunities can recognize you, before success can find you, you must craft a vision so powerful, so daring, so immense that it shakes you awake every morning you're alive. A vision that scares you is not a dream, it is a declaration, a promise to the universe and to yourself that you refuse to live small. Most people never rise because their vision never rises. They think small, speak small, believe small, and therefore live small. But the people who transform their lives, the people who break generational limits, the people who achieve what others call impossible, are the ones who dared to imagine something so big it made their heart pound, their hands sweat, their mind stretch, and their spirit roar. Before 2026 begins, you must decide that your life will not be written by fear, comfort, or circumstances. It will be written by vision. A vision that scares you is the kind of vision that forces you to grow into the person capable of holding it. It cannot be easy. It cannot be predictable. It cannot be something you already know how to accomplish. If your vision doesn't demand a stronger version of you, it's not a vision, it's a task. The life you want is bigger than the life you're used to. That means your vision must challenge every limit you've ever put on your own potential. It should stretch your imagination beyond what your current environment tells you is possible. It should pull you out of your comfort zone and into your calling. And that begins now, not when 2026 starts, not when you feel ready, not when conditions become perfect. The only perfect moment for vision is the moment you decide to create it. But why must your vision scare you? because fear is proof that you are touching territory outside your comfort zone. Fear is evidence that the goal is bigger than your current capacity. Fear signals that you are entering a realm that requires faith, conviction, discipline, and courage, the qualities that reshape a life. The vision that scares you is the vision that frees you. It forces you to think differently, act differently, move differently. It pushes you to rise. If your vision is comfortable, it will keep you exactly where you are. If it's intimidating, it will turn you into someone you've never been. That is the whole point. Before 2026 arrives, sit down and write out your vision with absolute clarity. Don't write what you think you can achieve. Write what you want to achieve without apology, without shrinking, without second guessing. What kind of person do you want to become? What level of discipline do you want to embody? What skill do you want to master? What income do you want to earn? What impact do you want to create? What environment do you want to live in? What health, relationships, mindset, and mission do you want to carry? Your vision is a destination, and without a destination, you drift. Drifting leads to wasted years. Vision leads to transformation. When your vision is written down, it becomes a blueprint. But a blueprint without belief is just ink. You must read it daily until it imprints on your identity. Most people fail not because their dreams are impossible, but because their belief is inconsistent. They dream on Monday, doubt on Tuesday, and quit by Friday. Before 2026 begins, you must commit to a level of belief that matches the size of your vision. You must speak your future like it's already your present. You must see possibility where others see problems. You must treat your goals with the seriousness of someone who expects them to happen, not someone who is hoping they might. But vision needs more than belief, it needs alignment. Every action, habit, and decision must align with the life you want to create. A powerful vision cannot exist inside a weak routine. If your vision is to become stronger, your daily habits cannot be lazy. If your vision is to build wealth, your spending cannot be reckless. If your vision is to grow your mind, your time cannot be consumed by distractions. If your vision is to change your future, your priorities cannot remain tied to your past. Alignment is the bridge between imagination and reality. If you truly want 2026 to be transformative, your vision must not only scare you, it must guide you. Often, the moment you decide to dream bigger, doubt begins to whisper. Not only your own doubt, but the doubt of others. People will question why you want more. They'll say your goal is too big, too unrealistic, too ambitious. Understand something now: people who are afraid to dream will always fear people who do. Their doubt is not about you. It is a reflection of their own limitations. If you let the small-minded inform your vision, your life will shrink to fit their comfort zone. Before 2026 arrives, free yourself from the opinions of those who do not carry the weight of your future. Your vision belongs to you, not them. A vision that scares you also forces you to plan differently. When you see something massive in your future, you naturally elevate the strategies you use. You stop playing small. You stop tolerating what drains you. You stop investing your energy in temporary pleasures. You start moving with purpose. You start thinking long-term. You start making decisions that your future self will thank you for. This shift alone can change your entire trajectory. A bold vision creates bold behavior, and bold behavior creates bold results. But there's another truth: a vision that scares you will test you. There will be resistance. There will be days you doubt yourself. There will be moments when you want to revert back to old habits because they feel familiar. This is not a sign to quit. It is a sign that you are on the right path. Growth is uncomfortable. Expansion is uncomfortable. Evolution is uncomfortable. The old version of you will fight to stay alive. The new version will fight to be born. Your vision gives the new version strength. That is why you need a vision that scares you, because it pushes you past the old you. Before 2026 begins, visualize the person you want to be on December 31st of that year. See their confidence. Feel their discipline. Imagine their achievements. Picture their environment. Listen to the way they speak, think, and carry themselves. Now ask yourself, what must I do today to become that person? What must I stop doing? What must I learn? What must I commit to? What habits must I embody? What boundaries must I enforce? This exercise alone can awaken you in ways nothing else can. Because once you see the highest version of yourself, you cannot pretend you don't know who you're capable of becoming. And let's be clear, a vision without deadlines becomes a dream without action. Set timelines, set milestones, set standards, set non-negotiables. Success is not accidental, it is intentional. Every great life begins with a vision, and every great vision begins with courage. Courage to imagine, courage to believe, courage to act, courage to persist, courage to rise. So before 2026 arrives, craft a vision that shakes your comfort, confronts your limitations, elevates your spirit, and demands your evolution. Let it scare you, let it stretch you, let it wake you up, because the future doesn't belong to the lucky, it belongs to the intentional. And when you dare to create a vision big enough to intimidate you, you also create a future powerful enough to transform you. The year ahead will not change your life, your vision will. And it starts now. BULHIOTs now THPEB 2026 begins. Before the world gets loud with resolutions, before everyone starts declaring goals they will abandon by February, before 2026 arrives with all its promises and pressure, you must understand one eternal truth: success is never built on hype, it is built on habits. Hype is loud, shiny, exciting, and temporary. Habits are quiet, consistent, unglamorous, and transformational. Hype makes you feel good for a moment. Habits make you become good for a lifetime. And the greatest trap most people fall into is mistaking excitement for progress. They get fired up by motivation, they get moved by emotion, they get inspired by speeches, videos, quotes, and moments, but then they wait for the next emotional rush to keep going. That cycle destroys potential, because motivation is unpredictable, emotion is unstable, inspiration comes and goes. But habits are the steady heartbeat of greatness. Before 2026 begins, you must establish the daily behaviors that will shape your identity, fuel your discipline, and position you for long-term success, regardless of how you feel, what the world is doing, or what obstacles appear in front of you. Most people don't realize that their future is quietly being built every day through small, unconscious routines. The way you wake up, the way you speak to yourself, the way you handle stress, the way you react to failure, the way you manage your time, your money, your energy, all of it is forming the foundation of your 2026. You don't need a giant breakthrough to change your life. You need consistent habits that build one brick at a time. Hype wants the big moment. Habits build the moments that lead to greatness. Think about it. No one becomes strong overnight. No one becomes wealthy overnight. No one masters a skill overnight. No one transforms their mindset overnight. Progress is not an event, it's a process. And processes are powered by habits. That is why, before the new year arrives, you must commit to becoming the kind of person whose actions speak louder than their intentions. The challenge is that habits require discipline, and discipline is uncomfortable, not because you're weak, but because your brain is wired to protect you from discomfort. Your brain loves familiarity, even if the familiar isn't serving you. That's why you return to old routines, old patterns, old excuses. But greatness is never born in comfort, it is born in resistance. When you build habits, you are training your brain to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term relief. This is why building habits is not just a lifestyle change, it's a psychological reprogramming. You're teaching yourself to prioritize purpose over pleasure, consistency over chaos, and progress over procrastination. And that internal shift is what will separate your 2026 from every year before it. Before 2026 begins, identify the habits that align with the life you're trying to create. Not the habits society tells you to have, not the habits people expect from you, the habits your future self needs. If you want to be healthier, your habits must reflect that. If you want to be wealthier, your habits must reflect that. If you want to be more disciplined, your habits must reflect that. If you want to improve your mindset, your habits must reflect that. Clarity comes from alignment. Your goals and your habits must be in the same direction. Too many people say they want success but live in a way that contradicts it. They want confidence but maintain fearful habits. They want progress but maintain procrastination. They want transformation but maintain comfort. You cannot reach a new destination with old behaviors. You must release the routines that anchor you and build the routines that elevate you. What kind of habits are we talking about? The habits that strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, expand your skill set, deepen your discipline, elevate your mindset, and amplify your productivity. The habits that push you when motivation fades. The habits that create identity. Because habits don't just change your schedule, they change who you believe you are. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your self-trust. Every time you complete a task you didn't feel like doing, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you choose consistency over convenience, you strengthen your character. These internal shifts compound over time, and within months, you become someone you barely recognize, not because you changed everything at once, but because you change your habits one day at a time. But let's be honest, building habits is challenging because it requires patience, repetition, and consistency, qualities most people struggle with. They want quick results, fast gratification, immediate transformation. But habits don't give you instant rewards, they give you long-term dividends. When you start a habit, the progress is invisible. You don't see growth in a day, you don't see reward in a week. But you keep going anyway, not because the results are visible, but because the vision is. That's why habits must be tied to purpose, not emotion. Emotion fluctuates. Purpose stabilizes, and when your purpose is clear, your habits become non-negotiable. One of the biggest misconceptions is thinking that building habits requires massive effort. It doesn't. It requires consistent effort. There's a difference. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m., run 10 miles, write a book, meditate for an hour, and change your entire routine overnight. No. Start small, start sustainable. Start with habits that you can maintain even on your worst days. The power of habits is not in intensity, it's in consistency. A 10-minute habit repeated daily will outperform a 2-hour habit done randomly. A small step taken every day will always beat a giant leap taken once. So before 2026 arrives, focus on building small, stable habits that set the tone for bigger transformation. And understand this, habits require an environment that supports them. You can't build discipline in a space full of distractions. You can't build health in an environment full of temptation. You can't build focus in a lifestyle filled with noise. Your environment must reflect your goals. Clean your space, reorganize your routine, remove distractions, set boundaries with people who interrupt your progress, and surround yourself with influences that align with your future. Your habits will crumble in the wrong environment and thrive in the right one. Another truth about habits is that they reveal your true priorities. You can say health is important, but your habits will show it. You can say growth is important, but your habits will prove it. You can say success is important, but your habits will either confirm or deny it. Before 2026 begins, be honest about the habits you've been choosing. Are they lifting you or limiting you? Are they building your future or breaking your momentum? Are they aligned with who you want to become or attached to who you used to be? The answers will tell you everything you need to know. As you build new habits, don't fear failure. Mistakes don't break habits, quitting does. Missing a day doesn't destroy your progress, giving up does. Perfection is not required, persistence is. Habits are built through repetition, not flawless execution. What matters is returning, recommitting, and realigning. Every day you show up, even imperfectly, you strengthen the habit and weaken the old patterns that held you back. So before 2026 begins, let go of hype and embrace habits. Let go of emotional bursts and embrace disciplined routines. Let go of inconsistency and embrace daily commitment. The world may be fueled by hype, but greatness is fueled by habit. Build now what your future needs later. The year ahead will not be shaped by what you say you will do, it will be shaped by what you repeatedly choose to do. And when your habits elevate, your entire life follows. Remove your hat before 2026 begins, before 2026 arrives, before you make new promises, before you set ambitious goals, before you proclaim that this will be your year. You must first do something far more powerful and far more transformative. Remove what weakens you. Not hide it, not ignore it, not pretend it doesn't matter. Remove it. Cut it out at the root. Because no matter how strong your goals are, no matter how inspired your intentions may be, you cannot rise while carrying the very weights that pull you down. Every year people tell themselves they're going to do more, become more, achieve more, yet they hold on to habits, relationships, environments, and patterns that drain their energy, cloud their clarity, and sabotage their discipline. You cannot build a powerful future on a foundation weakened by distractions and emotional anchors. Before the new year begins, you must identify everything that limits you, everything that steals your focus, everything that darkens your spirit, everything that slows your growth, and remove it without hesitation, excuse, or apology. Removing what weakens you starts with deep honesty, the kind of honesty most people avoid because it forces them to confront their own choices. You must look at your life and ask yourself uncomfortable questions. What do I keep saying yes to that I should have refused a long time ago? What environments drain the ambition out of me? What habits kill my momentum? What people leave me feeling empty, frustrated, or stuck every time I interact with them? What routines keep me stagnant even though I know I deserve better? Answering these questions is not easy, but neither is living a life controlled by weakness. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. You cannot grow from what you refuse to challenge. And you cannot elevate while holding on to the things that shrink your potential. Removing what weakens you is an act of self-respect. It's choosing strength over comfort, clarity over confusion, peace over chaos, and purpose over stagnation. One major source of weakness is toxic environments. Your environment influences your mindset more than you realize. If you live in a space filled with clutter, noise, negativity, or laziness, your productivity will suffer. If your social circle is filled with gossip, drama, envy, or lack of ambition, your mindset will slowly match theirs. If your digital world is overflowing with distractions, opinions, toxicity, and comparison, your focus and confidence will erode. Before 2026 begins, clean your environment physically, emotionally, socially, and digitally. Remove the clutter that stresses your mind. Remove the influences that poison your thinking. Remove the distractions that steal your attention. Your environment should reflect the future you want, not the past you're trying to outgrow. A weak environment produces a weak mindset. A strong environment produces a strong one. The difference is who you choose to surround yourself with and what you choose to tolerate. Another thing you must remove are self-sabotaging habits. These silent destroyers operate in the background of your life, quietly ruining your momentum. Procrastination, overthinking, excessive screen time, poor sleep, emotional eating, impulsive spending, inconsistent effort. These habits may seem harmless in the moment, but over time they drain your potential. You cannot take weak habits into a strong year. You cannot expect growth while practicing patterns that cause decay. Every habit is either a deposit into your future or a withdrawal from it. Before 2026, examine your routines with brutal clarity. What do you do daily that moves you backward? What do you do weekly that steals your discipline? What do you indulge in that costs you your confidence? Remove those habits. Replace them with behaviors that build strength, resilience, and consistency. Your goals don't fail because they're impossible. They fail because your habits don't support them. But one of the most difficult things to remove, and the one most people avoid, is the presence of weakening people. Not everyone in your life deserves access to your future. Some people are attached to your old version. Some are comfortable with your flaws because your growth threatens their stagnation. Some drain you emotionally, mentally, or spiritually without giving anything back. Some disguise their negativity behind jokes, sarcasm, criticism, or just being honest. And some people simply aren't aligned with your direction anymore. The truth is simple: you cannot rise around people who benefit from you staying low. Before 2026, distance yourself from those who sabotage your energy, your dreams, or your peace. This doesn't require anger or drama. It requires boundaries, silence, peace. You owe loyalty to your growth, not to relationships that weaken you. Then there's the heavy one: removing the internal weaknesses, the scars, beliefs, fears, and insecurities that silently guide your decisions. Many people carry wounds from their past: rejections, failures, disappointments, mistakes, and these unhealed wounds shape their current identity. They fear new opportunities because of old pain. They limit themselves because of moments that broke their confidence years ago. They stay small because at some point someone convinced them that they weren't enough. Before 2026 arrives, you must confront the internal enemies you've allowed to live inside you. Remove the belief that you're not capable. Remove the fear that you'll fail again. Remove the insecurity that your dreams are too big. Remove the guilt that keeps you tied to past mistakes. Remove the voices in your head that sound like the people who underestimated you. You are not who hurt you. You are not what you lost. You are not what you failed at. You are who you choose to become now. Removing what weakens you is not always pleasant. It requires sacrifice. It requires introspection. It requires courage. But everything great demands something from you first. And the price of a powerful future is letting go of a weakening past. Some people want greatness but refuse to remove what's stopping them. They want a better year but won't let go of the behaviors that ruined the last one. They want clarity but continue living in chaos. They want peace but hold on to conflict. They want success but cling to excuses. This contradiction kills potential. You cannot hold on to weakness and expect strength to show up. Something must go. Something must end. Something must be released. Before 2026 begins, remove the distractions that pull your mind in 1,000 directions. Remove the commitments that steal your focus. Remove the places that waste your time. Remove the people who disturb your spirit. Remove the activities that drain your energy. Remove the stories you keep repeating that keep you stuck in the same chapter. Remove anything that dims your light, questions your purpose, or sabotages your discipline. When you clear the space, strength enters. When you remove weakness, confidence grows. When you eliminate distractions, clarity sharpens. And here's the beautiful truth: removing what weakens you doesn't just create space, it creates power. Power in your decisions, power in your routines, power in your identity, power in your future. You begin to walk differently. You speak with more confidence. You protect your boundaries. You set higher standards. You upgrade your environment. You choose better habits. You think more clearly. You act with intention. You move with purpose. So as 2026 approaches, don't wait for a sign. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation. This is the work you do now. The hard work, the honest work, the transformative work. Remove what weakens you, and you will create a version of yourself strong enough to handle everything your future demands. The new year will not change your life. Removing what weakens you will. And once you release the weight, your rise becomes inevitable. C-U-T no use am pratisti yo urpc. Before you step into 2026 with the energy, discipline, and ambition you know you carry inside you, there is one truth you must confront without hesitation: your peace is the foundation of your power. You cannot build, grow, or transform anything if your mind is cluttered, your heart is overwhelmed, and your spirit is constantly under attack by noise from people, noise from the world, and noise from your own doubts. Cutting out the noise is not about isolation, it is about elevation. It is about giving yourself the mental space to hear your own voice again. Because somewhere along the way, life got loud, too loud, and without even realizing it, you started accepting distractions as normal and chaos as familiar. You started letting people's expectations dilute your focus, letting their opinions matter more than your own progress, letting their doubts grow louder than your dreams. And you can't walk into a new year carrying all that. You can't unlock clarity while drowning in confusion. You can't hear your purpose while listening to every voice except the one inside you. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is essential. It's the decision to build a sanctuary inside your mind where negativity, drama, and low-frequency energy cannot survive. Because when you truly protect your peace, you move through the world differently. You move with intention, with confidence, with a sense of calm power that others can feel before you even open your mouth. Cutting out the noise means looking at your life with honesty, unfiltered, unaided honesty, and admitting what drains you. The people who constantly complain but never change. The conversations that go in circles. The ones who show up only when they need something but disappear when you need support. The habits that steal your time. The environments that dull your light. The thoughts that whisper doubt into your mind. You must strip it all away, because this is not the year for emotional freeloaders or mental clutter. This is not the year for carrying people who refuse to walk. This is not the year for explaining your spirit to those committed to misunderstanding it. You owe yourself a season of clarity. You owe yourself mornings that begin without chaos and nights that end without anxiety. You owe yourself a mind that breathes instead of battles every waking moment. Protecting your peace is the highest form of self-respect because you're telling the world, I am valuable. My energy is valuable. My time is valuable. And I will no longer invest it where it cannot grow. Think about how many times you've been pulled off track not because you were incapable, but because you were distracted. Someone's negativity ruined your day. Someone's unnecessary crisis became your responsibility. Someone's judgment made you question your path. That's noise. And noise interrupts growth. When you cut it out, you become unstoppable. You begin to think sharper, move smarter, and act with the kind of focus that changes everything. You start noticing opportunities you used to overlook. You start hearing ideas that were once buried under stress. You start understanding yourself in ways you never had the mental space to explore. Peace is not passive, it is powerful. It heightens your intuition. It strengthens your creativity. It deepens your discipline. It fuels your ambition. A peaceful mind is a dangerous mind because it no longer battles itself. Instead, it directs all that energy toward purpose. But protecting your peace is not just about removing toxic influences from the outside. It's also about quieting the storms inside you. Your own doubt, your own fear, your own insecurity can make more noise than any person around you. And you've carried some of that noise for years. You've believed stories about yourself that were never true. You've held on to memories that should have been released long ago. You've replayed failures in your head as if they define you. You've allowed guilt, shame, and regret to echo inside your mind until you couldn't hear your own potential. To protect your peace, you must forgive yourself for everything you're still punishing yourself for. You must let go of the past, not because it didn't matter, but because it no longer has power unless you hand it power. You must give yourself permission to start fresh, to rewrite your narrative, to evolve without apologizing to the version of you that didn't know better. Silence the internal noise, and suddenly the path ahead becomes clear. Protecting your peace also means setting boundaries without fear. You can't keep saying yes while your spirit is begging you to say no. You can't keep showing up for others while abandoning yourself. You can't be the strong one for everyone else while crumbling in silence. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They keep the good in and the harmful out. They protect your energy from being misused and your time from being wasted. And the moment you set them, you will notice who respects you and who only respected their access to you. The people who get offended by your boundaries are the people who benefited from you having none. Let them be offended. Let them misunderstand. Let them go if they must. Your peace is worth more than their comfort. And finally, protecting your peace means being intentional about what you consume mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every trend deserves your energy. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every battle deserves your participation. Choose silence over noise. Choose growth over drama. Choose purpose over distraction. Choose peace over anything that threatens it. When you begin protecting your peace with that level of commitment, your life transforms in ways you never imagined. Doors open, inspiration flows, your confidence rises, your direction sharpens, and you begin stepping into a version of yourself you always knew existed, but never had the mental space to become. As you move toward 2026, understand this peace is not something you find, it's something you build. Piece by piece, choice by choice, boundary by boundary. And once you build it, protect it like your life depends on it. Because your future does. Your greatness does. Your purpose does. And the world will never hear the fullness of your voice until you silence the noise around you. Protect your peace, and you protect your power. Protect your power, and you change everything.